one thing that you did, though, that I feel made the biggest change for me was validating the dream, justifying the fears, and the things that I've gone through. And what you did was validate, hey, this dream that you have is possible. This can happen for you. It all comes down to, how much do you really want this? How much do you really want to change people's lives? And if you want all that and you're willing to do what it takes to get there, I can see this working for you big time.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this. All of that is great. But then there comes this next part that I probably haven't said to you. And that is, okay, here's what I would advise you to do.
This is Secrets for Success.
Welcome to the Secrets for Success podcast. I'm your host, Greg Todd. Thank you as always for joining me. Okay, today is a special one. Today we're going to call this episode Walkie-Talkie. Because that's what we do, right? I have Kyle Rice on. He is the founder of the PT Hustle. Kyle has been in my world for a very long time. I think since 2017, right? Am I right? It's since 2017.
Yeah.
And it's gone beyond client relationship. Kyle has become a dear friend of mine. We're actually, I guess, kind of neighbors as well. And Kyle is one of those things that I would say he's a byproduct of the mission. And so sometimes your business transactional relationships become true friendships. And so welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to be here, brother.
Okay, wonderful. So why don't you tell the people that don't know who you are, kind of tell them your journey from being a physical therapist to kind of what you're doing now.
Yeah, so, I wanted to be in healthcare for a very long time, right? My entire family is in some sort of healthcare of some sort. And initially, I wanted to go to medical school. I know quite a few people resonate with that. You do the whole pre-med stuff and all that. So, I wanted to go to medical school, but unfortunately, I ran into an exam called the MCAT where you got to pass it in order to be competitive to even get in. So, of course, I was not very competitive on that. Okay. So a PT was actually kind of like, it was going to be a stepping stone for me because I really still wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. And what ended up happening was I got into PT and I absolutely loved it. I went to FIU down in Miami, go Panthers, and I just fell in love with physical therapy and what we do. And so there's this exam called the NPTE, and I was like, I got to work my behind off to, make sure I pass this thing. Otherwise, I'm going to be $150,000 in debt. And so I took about 14 months to really focus on that. And although I hadn't passed any standardized exams ever in life, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do whatever it takes. So I bought every book, every course, everything that I could possibly do, went to that next level. So anyway, I went into the NPTE on my first attempt, and I got a perfect score on it.
Wow.
Right?
Wow. I didn't.
I hear you.
I was actually going to say this. I was going to say this. So the first two parts of your story, and as long as we've known each other, there are two things that I was like, yep. That's like our journeys are so similar in so many different ways. So I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't go through 4 years of doing all that nonsense. I realized very fast in the process that this ain't it. But I wanted to be an orthopedic, surgeon.
Yeah.
And then we both went to FIU.
Right.
But then where things changed is you got a perfect. And that didn't happen for me, but I did pass. So go me.
Clap that up. Clap that up.
But yeah, you got a perfect, which is absolutely crazy.
Listen, at the time, I would have taken a basic 600. Right. Just whatever I need to do to become a licensed PT.
Right.
All right. It just so happened that I got that perfect score, which was definitely God's grace that did something like that. Okay. And that comes back later in my story. Right. So here's the thing. So I got the 800 on it. Again, all I wanted to do was be a physical therapist. And yeah, I went out and my goal was to be the best, manual therapist, orthopedic, residency trained, all these different things that people want,
There
baby.
we go. We're back on the
Yeah.
similarities again.
Yeah.
That was me. Okay.
Right, right. And you just want to be the app. I now talk to my students about this. It's HAOPPT. What that stands for is
HAOPPT.
all right.
Yeah.
What that stands for is a high achieving, overperforming physical therapist. Right.
Okay.
So, those are the type of people that as soon as you hit a certain goal, if you will, academic goal, whatever it is, you always push the goalpost.
The next one.
And then you don't feel like you actually did anything, right? It's just like, oh yeah, I got a 95 on that test, but it wasn't 100 though, that sort of thing, right? And so that's really what it was for me as a physical therapist coming out. It's like, I just want to be the best, right? And I went into residency and all of that stuff, and I ended up getting to the point where I felt like I have really solid skills, but there was one thing that was missing, and that was the fulfillment piece. I even got into a job. We went into travel PT because we were in so much debt, my wife and I. We had at the time about $205,000, right? And that was a lot for us. We felt like we were drowning, right? I know people nowadays, they got 400, 500,
That's crazy.
So we felt like we were drowning. So we did travel PT. Now check this out. It was so cushy in travel PT. I had one patient, if they showed up, one patient an hour. I had like 2 hours to do documentation if you needed it. Never took home documentation. So cushy. And you were getting paid like $1,800, $1,900 a week. Like, oh, so cushy.
Right.
You would think that this is the absolute best situation ever, right? It was at that point that burnout really hit.
Okay. We need to stay here. So let's talk about this, because you talked about this HAOPPT, this high achieving, overperforming physical therapist. So many people feel as though the burnout happens because they're seeing so much volume of clients.
Right.
They're not getting paid well. And for you, all those things were taken care of. Those were all like addressed.
Right.
And you're still feeling it.
Exactly.
So what did you learn from that? What was it for you? And I know for everybody it's something different, but what was it for you that was the issue?
And taking it back a second, because I wanted to be known that I came from orthopedic settings where we were seeing 26 patients a day. You were seeing 2, 3, sometimes 4 patients an hour. So I came from that situation.
Right.
So the fact that I was in this 1 patient an hour cushy job, it was like, yeah, this should be everything. One thing I really learned from that experience is that we put all of this emphasis on, the reason why I'm not happy is because I see too many patients, or the reason why I'm not happy is because I'm not able to spend time with the patients, or whatever it is, right? And I feel like that's a big smokescreen for a lot of us. That truly what we're searching for is fulfillment. And that fulfillment isn't necessarily in, let me just treat 1 patient an hour, right? Sometimes, and I really feel that getting into that travel PT job where I had now all the time to think and whatnot really allowed me to reassess what makes me happy. And I was like, even though I love patient care, I was like, man, is this going to be my life for the next 30 years, 40 years, however long, right? And I think that was a big awakening moment, and what led me to contacting you in the first place.
Yeah. I think this is big for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are putting up smoke screens, and they are, and I'm not saying your journey. We're going to talk about like what happened next.
Right.
But what happened for you is not necessarily going to make other people fulfilled.
For sure.
Okay. But I think what you were able to do, and this part, I want y'all that are listening, please, I want y'all to get this. Taking that travel job for you, I believe, was clutch. It was clutch because it gave you time.
Right.
And most of us don't have time to think and reflect at all. So there's just no space.
Right.
Right. And you couldn't have done that seeing the 23 or 24 patients a day in the other place, right? You're just miserable, right? But now you actually have a little time to think and like, yo, what do I want out of my life? What makes me happy? Why do I feel this way? Is this comfortable? Is this tight? Is this freeing? Like, why is that feeling like it is? And I think that was huge to just give you the time to reflect.
Right.
And then you realize that, yo, none of this is like this ain't it.
GT, there's levels to this game, right? There's levels.
Bro.
So check this out. I think the idea of the whole rat race became even a thing for me, like trying to understand that idea after I had more time to think.
Right.
Now, check this out. As a physical therapist, like I said, there was times where you're seeing 26 patients a day, that whole thing. When you are in the grind of the everyday, just like hustle and bustle, you have no time to think. You're always wanting a better situation, but you don't even know truly what you want or what fulfills you because you're just grind every day.
Right.
And it's unfortunate for a lot of people because they just stay in that until they retire. Right? And they never see anything else.
Right. Yeah.
Fortunately for me, with God's direction, I was able to then get into travel PT, giving me that time to think.
Yeah.
And then find like, whoa, do I really want this? Do I really want to do this for the next 40 years?
Right.
Maybe there is more to life than just the hustle and bustle grind.
Right.
So you're 100% right.
Bro, this morning, okay, I kid you not, I left the bed around 7:30.
Right.
7:15, 7:30. Yesterday was a long day for me because it's coaching for the majority of the day, our team meetings, this, that, da. So Mondays are always the tough days, right? Okay. So I slept in a bit, right? I slept until like 7:30. And I didn't come back upstairs until 9:15 this morning, right? Come back upstairs, Carrie's in the bed. And she, like, when I open up the door, if she's up, and I knew she was up, it was 9:15, I knew she was up, she looks at me, she's like, why does everything take so long with you? Right? Because I was like, oh my God, I'm rushing. She's like, and that's such a privilege.
Right.
It's such a privilege because I need to have time. It's not just about, I got to go work out for an hour. I'm going to go walk, or I'm going to go on a Peloton, or I'm going to do this. Bro, I want time to think.
Right.
I want time to think because so many of us, we are just this, get up, that, and not even giving ourselves time to ask ourselves, do I feel right?
Right.
So she wanted to know this morning, like, what were you doing down there? Like, I read. Yeah, I took my progress photo. Yeah, I went on the Peloton. Well, okay. So that was like 30, that should have taken 30 minutes to read. That you were gone for 2 hours. I'm like, she's like, what was the other time? I was like, I don't know. I was just thinking. Like, not everything has to be scheduled.
Right.
Not everything and giving yourself that freedom, I truly believe, is what ended up making the call.
100%.
Y'all, if you're listening, if every single moment of your day, if your calendar is scheduled, you've got a problem.
Right.
You've got to have time to be able to just can't even think. So anyways, now let's talk about what happened in that enlightening moment of you saying, I need to do something different. What was different? What did you do?
So that's where this whole time thing is so important, right? So I had it was bittersweet, right? Because you have this time and now you start to realize like, whoa, I am burnt out. I'm not fulfilled. So that part is like very hard. But then you do have the time, the freedom to now be like, what do I want? And the one thing for me that kept coming up is, you're so fulfilled. It was like almost a voice that was whispering in my ear. You are so fulfilled. And where you can find fulfillment is helping people overcome the pain that you've gone through in the past. And I would say if I looked over my life, of course, I've had a lot of struggles, but I would say some of my biggest struggles were revolving around acceptance, revolving around academic excellence and reaching that level, and then standardized testing, right? And the anxieties and all that come from that. And so it's like, it was like I was being pushed in that direction. This is where fulfillment is.
Right.
The problem was I didn't know how to do that. And I feel like a lot of people get stuck there. It's like, well, how do I do it? How do I do it? And then they go right back into the hustle, bustle, grind.
Right.
But that's where it was like, no, who can help me do this? How can I do this? You know, that sort of thing. And that's when I found you online.
Found me online.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so it looks like you had found me online, and I remember you booked a call with me,
Right. Yeah.
and you, that wasn't a free call.
Yeah. It's not a free
at the
call.
time,
Yeah.
it's not a lot of money today, but at the time,
Yeah, at the
it
time,
was
yeah.
probably a lot of money in relation to what,
For sure.
So, okay, so what did you think before you booked that call? Were you nervous? Were you, is this guy a scam? Like what was the story prior? Like, did you watch videos? Did you, I mean, I don't know. What did you know of me?
You know, I would say I knew that my situation needed to change. So I was online. There's a bunch of other people that were out there that I feel like were kind of on the snaky side. I didn't resonate with them very well.
Gotcha.
I loved what they had, and they were showing all the great stuff, but I didn't feel like that true connection, right?
gotcha.
And when I found you online, you were a physical therapist, you were a minority, you had went to FIU, and even in the way that you spoke, you had the energy and all that. It was just very inviting, right?
Gotcha.
And so I really feel that that's where I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance on this thing and reach out.
Interesting. For those of you listening, I think there's a couple things here, right? Obviously, I didn't know all that was going on behind the scenes before this guy reaches out, right? But, Kyle, like now looking at what Kyle has been able to do, and even just being a part of that journey, I'm so happy that whatever things I had done up to that point was able to draw you in for you to make that decision. And a lot of times you guys think that, oh, what I'm doing right now is not working. Well, what you are doing is working, okay? Because it's either working on you or it's working for you, okay? So every single video that I was doing or whatever content I was putting out, it was working on me because I was getting comfortable with putting myself out there and just sharing like, who I am. But it was also working for me and it was working for you, right? And so I think one of the things is people are like, well, I'm not good enough, or I'm not different enough, or I'm not at this level, and we're hyperachievers, and we're, thinking unless I'm the best, I can't really share anything with people.
Right.
And I think one of the things that you just said is, I connected with you. Well, why? Okay, well, we're both Black. Okay, that's one thing. All right, but that was the only thing.
Right.
Okay, we're male. Okay, great. That's one thing. That's not the only thing. Okay, those things you can kind of just see. Okay, great. But I shared, like, this is who I am. I went to FIU. You went to FIU. Okay, right. I felt a lot of the ways that you felt prior to making this. You felt those ways, right? And so I'm saying all that because today, bro, my audience is 73% female. Like, my audience is a 45-year-old white female. That is my audience. But the reality is that the reason why is because I connect with them.
Right.
I'm a metrosexual. I'm a 45-year-old white girl, man. I mean, no, there's a lot of things that we connect with.
Right.
And so I say that to you guys because you're not even giving yourself the opportunity for people to come into your world and to share with who you are, how you are, like what you're about. And that's why, like, I just feel like, even as we're going into political season right now, whatnot, we are all so much more common than we are different. Okay. Like, so much, like, dude, there's a lot of my white chicks. You know what they love? They love Jay-Z. They love, bro. And you know what we love? We all love Love is Blind. Right. We all love, right? Okay. Like, I mean, they'll invite me to their mom dates, like, because we're so alike. And I say that to you all because there's so many people out there, the way that you are right now, everything that makes you you. And there's so many people out there. There's Black dudes out there that would connect with you if you just put your crap out. Right. There's Hispanic ladies that will connect if you just put your stuff out, right? Because we're also there. So anyways, I say all that because without that, the call doesn't happen.
Right.
The call doesn't happen. And you will have to give yourself that opportunity for the call to actually happen. Okay, so now we do the call. What the hell happened on the call?
The one thing I will say, and I have to credit myself on this one, is I reached a certain level of where I was willing to submit to, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I need help. Okay. I'm willing to trust. right? And I'm willing to be vulnerable. I'm willing to put myself out there, willing to put my dreams out there for the chance that the call couldn't have gone. It could have gone a different way where you shot down my dream. It could have happened, right? Here's the thing, though. I put myself out there, and that's what allowed for what happened next on that call, right? And so, we got on the call. I put my dream out there. I put the situation. You resonated with me. We got that immediate bond on the phone. One thing that you did, though, that I feel made the biggest change for me was validating the dream, justifying the fears, and the things that I've gone through. And what you did was validate, hey, this dream that you have is possible. This can happen for you. It all comes down to, how much do you really want this? How much do you really want to change people's lives? And if you want all that and you're willing to do what it takes to get there, I could see this working for you big time.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this. All of that is great. But then there comes this next part that I probably haven't said to you. And that is, okay, here's what I would advise you to do.
Right.
Okay. Like, the majority of people that I speak to, I would say probably more than 70%, I will validate what they're saying. Like, I know, wait, I'm pretty sure there's a market for this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Okay, wow, you got an 800 on your freaking NPTE. So, okay, he must know something,
right?
Or that was extremely lucky. Like, wow. Okay, so I think we've got something here. I think we're cooking with some gas here. Okay, all right. But there's things that you're gonna have to do. Okay, now here's the issue. A lot of times, when I now it's my turn to tell you, okay, this is what I think you should do first. Okay, like if I was in your situation, this is what I would do first. This is where things get tricky. And something Myron said to me, and I'll never forget this. He said, Greg, I'm going to tell you something. I was like, okay. He was like, you're probably one of the most coachable, educated people I've ever met. I was like, okay. I took that as a compliment. Okay, yeah, I guess. Can you explain a little bit more? He's like, yeah, most educated people are not coachable. He's like, I actually hate working with educated people. It's like, I'd rather work with people that don't have high degrees. It's like, oh? He's like, yeah, the high degree people are really tough. They're so entrenched in everything that they've learned that if you are to coach them and tell them something, they're going to have to detach from all of that.
Right.
In order to actually accept what it is that you're telling them to do. Okay? So even I could have validated everything that you said, done all those things, but I told you something and you actually did it. I remember what I told you to do and you did it that day, right? And you might not have had all the answers or whatever, but I told you to do something, you did it.
Right.
And for our relationship of coaching and advising, you've pretty much always done that, right? And it doesn't mean that everything has to be right or wrong. It's like, it's business. Like, we're taking educated guesses.
For sure.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
But most people can't do that. Most people can't do that. They're too educated, and they're too entrenched. They're too entrenched in their way, and there's too much on the line to risk of letting all that go. So they can't receive it anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But you
That's
did.
deep. That's
So
deep.
congratulations.
I love it. I'm good.
All right.
Yeah.
So what happened after that now?
Yeah, so that's when we had really gotten together. I had joined the original SSPT community, which was incredible. I feel like that was the next piece that really changed the game, was getting into a community of just like this energizing, supporting. Even on your lower points, you have somebody there that's like, no, I believe in your mission, push, go, that sort of thing. That's how the community was, right? And it just didn't matter what was happening. Like, other people were starting podcasts, so I was like, well, let me start mine, that sort of thing. You just keep pushing. And so, dialing back in the story a little bit, I went through PT school, struggled with standardized tests all my life. I ended up doing well on this MPTE, right? Now I have this desire to help physical therapists overcome the MPTE, right? And so that was, really my push was, let me start a company with your help that was going to take people that are really anxious about testing, not really good at standardized tests, come from a family where academics was held high, a lot of pressure. You don't want to disappoint your mom and dad, that sort of thing. Take those people and help them overcome this exam against all odds, right? Yeah. And mostly, let me take the people who actually failed the exam and get them to the point where they overcome. Yeah. That became the mission.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge, guys. So I think there's a lot of things we can take from this. I think number one is for every single one of you, you really you should always give yourself some time and give yourself space to actually ask yourself some questions. And I think we should do this. We should do this probably, whether it's weekly, monthly, minimum quarterly. Right. Definitely not once a year, okay? Minimum is quarterly. And ask yourself, hey, do I feel like I'm living within my purpose? Mm-hmm. Do I feel like, and even if it's not the perfect situation, am I making the best out of the situation to be able to say, hey, you know what? I want to get up every day to go do that, right? Okay, so I think that's number one. I think number two is not for everyone, but for the majority of you, your purpose is where you were at some point in your life, and it was one of the biggest obstacles that you have overcome that you have now been able to overcome. Right. Okay. That usually gives you the most amount of joy and fulfillment because it brought you so much pain. Mm. And so if you think about it's the majority of us. Okay. It's not everybody, but the majority of us, that's what it is, right? For the rest of you, you are really, really, really good at something and you're self-aware of knowing I'm really good at this. And because I'm really good, it brings people so much joy. Mm. I'm just kind of rolling with that. You know what I mean? And I think that works for a lot of people as well. Right. I think for you, it was both. You had so much pain with the failure of this. And then you were able to totally 180 this thing and basically be on GOAT status on the other side of it. So you were able to take number one and number two, and it was basically a lock. Yeah. It's basically what it was, right? And so, for you all that are like, I don't know if what I'm doing is really fulfilling me. I mean, if you're even saying that, the answer is you're right. It's not, okay? The question now you have to ask yourself is, are you so educated and are you so, locked into your way? And if you change your way, it's going to disrupt so many other things, your identity, this, that, that you're even willing to learn to even listen. Right. You're even willing to accept the message. That's why I can say the same damn thing. Bro, I've been saying the same damn thing for 8 years. I can say the same thing, and there could be people that are 5, 6, 7 years just been listening to the same thing. They're still not ready to receive it. Right. So it don't matter. That's why I don't even have to change anything. You see, I say the same thing at the end of every single the same thing. Boom, it just hit. Right. So oh my God! I said, I've been saying the same thing.
You got to be ready to receive it.
You got to be ready to receive it. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
Like the Bible's message hasn't changed. Right. But every single time I read the Bible, it's like mind blowing. Like, oh my gosh, it just hit. Mm-hmm. I read that thing 19 times, bro. Right. It just hit. I was just finally ready to receive it. Right. I was finally ready to actually interpret it. Right? So it's like you don't have to change your message. You can change some little angles or whatever. You don't have to change it. It's just, are you ready to receive it? And maybe you already received it and you got on. Then it's time for you to move on. And that's it. Isn't it crazy? It's crazy. Anyway, y'all, this is what we do when we're on our walks. We're just kind of like, so Kyle and I, we don't do it as much as we used to. We should get back to more consistent.
We need to get back to that. Yeah.
But we used to walk like every single Tuesday. We'd walk and like just no agenda, just talk like what we're
just
doing.
Just like this right now.
Just like this. This is why this episode is called Walkie-Talkie. All right. So now what has happened for you since then? You can kind of do a fast forward of where you helping these people, what has it turned into, and let the people know.
Yeah, so we started off with nothing. Really, absolutely nothing. No courses, no Facebook group that I have now. Nothing. All right, just with a mission that I really was standing behind and willing to just help as many people as possible. You had brought up many times in the past this. What was it, the Goodwill Bank?
The Goodwill bank account.
Yeah, Goodwill Bank account, right? And what that really is that you're just giving and giving and giving. And what you're doing is it's like you're depositing into this bank account.
Yeah.
And then there is a time where you can go in and actually withdraw from that in the form of money or love or whatever it is, right? And so anyway, started this company called the PT Hustle. You already know the mission from what I said before. Over the past 5-6 years now, we've been able to generate over $5 million from this company.
Awesome.
Right, which absolutely incredible. We've helped over 20,000 physical therapists become licensed, people who struggle with standardized testing. One of my biggest, I guess, joys about this is the number of people that were on their last attempt, by the FSBPT standards. They say that you only get 6 times in your lifetime to pass this exam, and if you don't, then for the vast majority of the states, you can never work in that state ever as a physical therapist. Doesn't matter. Right. And the number of people now that we've been able to help on those attempts has been about 500, about 489.
Wow.
Right. 500 people. Wow. That's a lot, right?
People.
That were around that 5th and 6th attempt. And so it's like,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Those people are now able to be physical therapists and their lives are changed forever. Right. And so the financial piece is great, and it has created an incredible lifestyle for my family and set us up for being able to put my son in an amazing position, right? So he can impact even more people than I have, right? So that part is great. I would say the biggest thing is the fact that I could die today knowing that the impact that I've made is significant.
Right.
I've made a significant impact in the world, because all of those people that have now passed can now go out to impact so many more people, right? And so that level of impact already gives me the level of fulfillment that I need, right? Oh my gosh. It's incredible.
That's amazing.
It's incredible.
That's amazing. So. Okay, let's talk about that a little bit. Oh man, I got goosebumps from just hearing that. One of my former patients used to say to me, because like I would post a lot more on social media, and she would say, "You talk about death too much." I was like, and I really liked this person. I still like this person,
right?
But she reached out to me like privately. She's like, "You're always talking about death." I was like, "Yeah, because I nearly died." It's like I nearly died, and ever since that happened to me in 2012, I've been on a whole different level,
right?
Like that was it. And what you just described is a lot of how I feel now. Like I could die now.
Right.
Like I mean, if I did, I don't want to.
Of course.
I don't want to, but if I did, I know that I've like done something.
You've done something, right?
Like I know that like after I leave the earth, like there are relationships that have happened. There are businesses that have been created, and not just businesses. That's just one way to impact people. But there have been ways that my hand on something, how God has used my experiences, my gifts, have I'm somehow going to be still involved in making the world operate better,
right?
Even when my physical body is gone. That feels so good.
That
feels so good.
It's relieving.
Like it's the coolest feeling. And also the Bible says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And the reality is that like you have your son now, I have my kids, and the world is harder.
Right.
It's harder, man. It's harder. And I'm seeing the stress and the struggles that our clients are coming out of school with.
Absolutely.
Imagine what that's going to look like for
their kids.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
So the Bible tells us like a good man is not going to allow his kids to be where he was at when he was going to college or when he was graduating high school. And I feel like we've put ourselves in a situation to where we're doing what the Bible equates to as good men,
right?
From a monetary standpoint,
100%.
Right? I also know that the Bible talks about that do not make money be a ruler over you.
Right.
Right. And I believe today, because we have helped a lot of people and we have blessed them, we have had the byproduct of making money, which means that we don't have to take every deal. We don't have to go into every partnership. We don't have to do things for money anymore.
Right.
When you make lots of money, you don't have to do things for money. You don't have to take the bad deal. You don't have to do. And so I believe that that's when money is a ruler over you. It's when I've got to work with someone that is not equally yoked with me.
Right.
I have to do that because money is ruling over me.
Absolutely.
But when I have a good chunk of it, I don't have to do it. So it's not ruling me. And so I think that that's a beautiful thing as well. And you talked about the Goodwill bank account. I don't know if you heard me talk about this at the event. I talked about, givers, takers, and matchers. And I think what you have done, and guys, I'm talking. Kyle and I are talking about. I hope y'all still listening right now. We're just rapping right now, but I think the givers, takers, and matchers. I think most of us, I heard this from this guy's a billionaire. He was on a podcast. It was from My First Million. I heard him say this. I can't remember the name of the guy, but he said that he was very good friends with Charlie Munger before Charlie Munger died, right? And so he said that Charlie Munger said this. He said, out of every 100 people, 3 to 5 of those 100 are going to be givers, meaning that they're going to do what you did. They're going to give with no expectation of anything in return, right? Understanding the Goodwill bank account concept,
Gotcha.
understanding that I'm just here to just give value. I know there's going to be people that I'm going to give value. They will never buy a thing from me. I'm okay with that. There's going to be people that I'm going to give value and they're going to actually turn against me. I'm okay with that too.
Right.
Okay. I'm just here to give as much value as possible and give it for free. I do respect my time, and for those that want more of my time, I'm going to have to charge you for it. Okay, all right.
Right.
But the goal every day is just to give as much value as possible, and I really don't want anything in return. I don't care to have anything in return. That's a true giver, right? He said 3 to 4 of the people that you meet out of 100 are going to be that. Okay, it's like then there's going to also be the takers. And the takers are like, look, I'm here to get something from you. Okay, that's my agenda. I just want something from you, and they do it in everything that every situation they're in. So there's about 3 to 6 people are going to be takers. Remove them from your life at all costs. Okay, so now we got the rest.
Okay,
it's 90 to 92 people. They're matchers. They're matchers. So they're like, yes, I will do that for you, but I'm keeping score.
Got it. So more of that transactional type of
yeah. Says I'm keeping, I'm keeping score, right?
Yeah.
And so you just anyone that you see, I'm telling y'all this, like anyone that you see that you're like, gosh, they're such givers, like keep them in your life as much as you possibly can. Okay.
Absolutely.
Figure out a way. Like you always have time for those people because they're always trying to give to you and you're always trying to give to them and you're just trying to outgive each other.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Right. That's beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. The takers, get them out of your life as fast as possible. They're going to suck you dry, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. They have no desire to give you anything. They just want to take from you, and it's just who they are. It's just their DNA.
Preach.
Okay?
Preach.
This is the hard part about the matchers. Charlie Munger said, it's in your best interest to treat the matchers the way you treat the takers. Yikes.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's like, you don't have enough room for more than a few really strong relationships in your life. You just don't have room for it. So treat the matchers the way that you treat the takers, and only have a few really, really, really good people in your life.
Ain't that something?
Is that deep?
Yeah, that is deep, man.
I was like, damn.
That's deep.
And and so I say that because for any of you listening that know Kyle, I can vouch for you. The guy's a giver. And so yeah, I found a way regardless to make sure he's always in my life in some way, right? Because you're a giver. You're just right. And so if you find those people, you do what you can to keep them in your life. No matter how busy life gets, this, that, da, 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 you keep those types of people in your life. And I think that's what you have done. You just give a lot. There's even times like I don't come on your lives that you do, but like I'll go on Facebook and I'm about to go do something in my group and I see Kyle Rice is live, right? It's Jeopardy, it's like, whatever, right? He does all these different things to kind of keep his audience involved and whatnot, and it's just giving, you know.
Right.
Yeah, you have your times, a couple times a year where he's like, all right, listen. For those of y'all that are like struggling, it's probably a good idea for you to pay me some money and let me help you out, because kind of things are getting a little dicey now. But the rest of y'all, like, just take it all in.
For sure.
That's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
That feels good,
Love it.
right?
It feels
great,
it feels amazing. You know, to your point, just to put some more objectivity to it, is a podcast that I had started had really like gone viral in PT schools, right?
Yeah.
It was just me going through practice questions. Well, every single week I would release an episode of that since February of 2018, right? We're now July of 2024. So every single week since then, absolutely free. We have about like 17,000 people who listen to that podcast every single month.
Wow.
And I've been doing it for that long. Right. And typically an episode, because you got to write up the question, make sure it's good, make sure you have the rationale, all of that stuff. This stuff takes, you know, an hour to an hour and a half to make sure it's really solid. Right. So if you add up all of that time over the past 4 years or however long it's been, it's like that was absolutely done for free with no expectation that any one of those 17,000 people every single month are going to pay me a dime. Right. And so it just goes to show, like, yeah, you put yourself out there, you have really valuable content that people actually want and all of that stuff, but you give. And anytime I've ever moved away from just that giving spirit, I found myself in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, either inviting the wrong people into my world or just overall not feeling fulfilled anymore.
Yeah.
It's like the giving piece is so important.
It's so huge.
But you have to have the time, you have to have the energy in order to give to people.
It's 100%. That's why for me, like the morning routine, and I want to hear about, I want you to talk more about that, about like what it's like to not have that and you not be in that situation where you actually are not in a giving mentality. You're in a matching mentality.
Right.
And that's when bad things can happen.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's huge.
That, like I said, anytime I've ever moved away from that, and it became like, you have mentioned keeping score.
Yeah.
Right. And I really feel like you put a name to the face there, because that's exactly what's happening. Yeah. It's like, okay, we're in a relationship. And it's like, I did this for you, and now I'm just waiting for this opportunity to collect on what I gave you. Right?
Yeah.
And it's always in the back of my mind. Anytime I'm around you, anytime I'm in this space, it's like, okay, maybe I can ask him for this or ask her for that, or I have the expectation that they're now going to reciprocate. And that is just draining to you.
It's a matching mentality, bro.
That's draining. Holy cow.
It's a matching mentality.
Wow.
Like, I'll give, but I'm waiting. And if you think about it, just think about how we grew up. Think about how we were trained in school. We were trained as employees. As an employee, it's a matching mentality.
Absolutely.
I will show up to work, but I better be paid for this hour. So, and I'm not trying to say matching is all. It's just now as responsibilities get more and more in your life and whatnot. Now we got to start to filter out. Now it's about saying who is not going to be in versus who's going to be in, right? Now it's about like who makes the cut,
right?
So if you really think about it, do you want a bunch of that in your life?
No,
like on a daily basis?
No.
No.
And I feel like healthcare will take giving people, because a lot of us who get into healthcare, we want to be able to help. We do want to be able to serve people. The natural healthcare environment, I would say pushes you almost into that whole matcher's mentality.
Yeah.
Because it's like work, take documentation home. You start to get to the point where it's just like, I'm not getting paid for this. I ain't getting paid for that. You become resentful.
Yeah.
And then now you're always looking for that, okay, how am I getting reciprocal? Right. And so it starts to breed that mentality almost,
100%.
setting you up for that constant cycle of not being fulfilled.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Y'all, this is
I mean,
it's crazy.
yeah,
It's
it
crazy.
really is. Yeah.
It's set up for us not to give, and this is part of the reason. Like, we can talk about PT, and even if you're not a PT, I think it goes for all professions.
100%.
It's the reason why I think our profession is struggling in the way that it's struggling. It's because of the matching mentality. It's a matching culture we have. So if you really think about it, how much people really serve and give from the knowledge, the wisdom, the expertise of what you do as physical therapists. How many people truly give to people that aren't paying them?
Right.
Because and it's actually been trained inside of our culture, in our profession, that if you give to people and they don't pay you, you're actually demeaning yourself. So we've been trained that the giver's mentality is wrong.
Right.
The giver's mentality is actually you diminishing your worth.
Your worth, your value, 100%.
And that's no
I
good.
think that's something.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, I think that's a huge thing. Huge thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really big with the match. The whole matching mentality.
Yeah.
I think I'm taking that definitely from this episode.
Yeah, I think 98% of our profession we're matchers. I don't think there's a ton of takers. We understand but most of us are matchers.
Right.
And that's, even though you're great at what you do and this and that, you'll never be able to achieve the 1%.
Right.
In the profession, because you have to have a giver's mentality in order to do that. And that's, I think, what those of us that we've seen that have achieved some really amazing success, we do more giving than matching.
Right.
We're not perfect with the giving, but we do more giving than matching. And we're self-aware to know that, wait, what's going on? Why are things getting, it's because I moved away from that. Okay, let's get back to that, right? Which also means a couple things, you guys. It means that, like, you have to set your life up in a way to where you can be a giver. Right. Which means that your margins can't be so tight in all the areas that, oh my God, I got to make this every month. I got to do this. Things have to be kind of structured in a way in order for you to actually live like that on a regular basis. Right.
100%.
So anyways, a lot of tips. All right. Bro, we could talk forever.
We can.
Yeah.
We can.
So let's see. I think there's a few other things I would like for you to share with the audience. You've been an entrepreneur now since 2017, 18. So it's been 6 to 7 years that you've been doing this.
Right.
What would you share with, and you've done extremely well for yourself. You've had your highs, you've had your lows. Can you share, just give some wisdom to the audience on things that you would advise them to look for, pitfalls that you've had? Just give your Kyle Rice knowledge.
Yeah. So let me hit a few, and you can guide me a little bit too, right? So kind of piggybacking off of what we were just talking about, the whole giving mentality, right? What I've seen in my past is if I tried to give people out of the goodness of my heart, but give things that the people don't want, then that creates this like, but I'm giving you so much. I'm giving you, like, why don't you want it? That sort of thing. And then it starts to create, again, some resentment, right? Yeah. And then you start pulling back from all your giving because it's like, you guys don't want what so I think it's very important that you understand what people want. You ask them, you survey them, you figure that stuff out, and then you give them what they actually want, right? I've seen it in other, entrepreneurs, but myself as well. It's like you're giving, but you're giving the wrong thing.
The wrong thing,
right?
Right.
And then that just keeps you in this cycle of just not progressing forward.
Don't give me a potato casserole when really what I want is a mac and cheese.
Hey, it's so funny. See, this is why we are like just connected. Because as soon as you went there, I knew like macaroni and cheese was on my list.
Bro, don't give me don't like I didn't ask for a potato casserole.
Exactly. Yeah.
for that.
You know, so if you're on the, even if you're a seasoned entrepreneur at this point, I think that that's a lesson for all of us, right? To go back on. But if you're getting started, that's what I would have changed in the beginning for sure, is wait, hold on, what do these people actually want?
Right.
And let me give them what they want.
Yeah.
Right? Not what I think that they want.
Right.
So that's number one. I would say the people that you put yourself around is very important.
Yeah.
Right? The people that you let in. One of the things that I always heard is that having a team around you is one of the most amazing things, right? They take work off your shoulders, they can help you, blah, 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 you know, all these amazing things. So I think it puts out there that, hey, you try to surround yourself with a team as quickly as possible.
Right.
True. It's true. It does help a lot, 100%. You just have to be careful about who those people are. Because if you have a mission and if you have a culture that if you invite the wrong people in, they will destroy.
Right.
And the devil is known to kill, steal, and destroy. And sometimes the devil be living in some of those people. All right? Hey, I ain't trying to go to church.
I think we got to do a part.
I'm telling you. But that's one of the pitfalls that I fell into. And, right now I'm not going to give any specifics on that. But I will say that that's one of the pitfalls I fell into was like, wow, it would be so great for me to be able to take this load off my shoulders. Yeah. And then we can grow the company so much faster and I could do all these CEO things, right? I was so caught up in the idea of being able to bring somebody on that could take off my load that I wasn't paying attention to truly that person.
Who that person is at their core.
Yeah. And I put the priority of getting somebody in the role that could take the work off my shoulders. I prioritize that higher than who that person really was at the core.
Right.
I invited them in.
Yep.
And then they ended up starting to tarnish the inside, right?
Oh, that's huge. That's huge.
And so that's one of the pitfalls. I'm so thankful that I learned the lesson. Because what it did is it drew me even closer to the Lord. Right. Because I was like, wow, the Lord helped me to remove that 100%. Right. He's with me. I know he's still there, right? Yeah. So I don't regret it. However, if I could go back, knowing everything that I know now, I would say, yes, prioritize the people that you're putting around you and in your mission for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I could just say 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. Like so many times, and it's really quality over quantity.
Yes,
it's quality over quantity. I've shared this on the podcast multiple times in the last 9-10 months of how much peace I have, and I have less.
Right.
So and the amount of workload that's off me with, like, I'm talking 60% less manpower. And so it comes down to quality over quantity. Right. Comes down to making sure that you have people that it's culture over everything. It's culture over everything. And yeah, so, oh gosh, that's huge. Okay, you got any more?
Oh my gosh.
I
do got a bonus one. So I would say the other piece is, in business, it's very easy to get very caught up in the numbers, right?
Yeah.
I got myself to the point where I was constantly checking my Stripe account. For those of y'all who know what Stripe is, or PayPal, or constantly checking that on the hour. Like, oh, did we get a sale? Right? And reinforcing that behavior, that my value, the company's worth, all of that is just wrapped up in, has somebody paid me or not? Ooh, what is that really going back to, though? Our conversation earlier, right? That it has to be this transactional matching relationship and not really focusing on, hey, am I giving these people what they truly want? Am I serving them? And that by putting myself out there, giving them what they want, that in my history, I've seen that I've gotten paid tenfold, 100-fold for that. But when I remove myself from that by checking Stripe and setting up the worth, just if somebody's paid me today or paid me this hour, then again, it just sets you into that, I just got to get people to pay me. And the next sales call is the person has to pay me, right? And I feel like that not only makes you thirsty, right? And people can sense that, but people can feel your vibes and your intentions very easily, right? Especially in today's world.
When people feel, I think there's a couple of things with that. I think when people feel, like when I feel like you need me, I don't want you. I want you to want me.
Right.
But I don't want you to feel like I need you. It's really important, right? We can feel it. We can feel it. And so I think that's the first thing. I think also, we say we don't want money to rule over us. So that's when you're checking the Stripe account every single minute, it's like, it's now become your master.
Right.
It's become your master. And now you're going to roll different. So yeah, these things are all so huge. So huge. Brother, I wanted to say this. This has been amazing. A lot of times I will finish out the episode and I'll say something about the person that I have here. Sometimes I won't. This episode I want to say thank you. Thank you for what you've done. Right now I'm being a matcher, okay? I'm going to a matcher. What you've actually done for SSHC and for the mission of just doing your thing. It's inspired so many people. And not just the entrepreneurial journey, but there have been people that have found you, and they were at that point where like they couldn't get through that last hurdle,
Right.
for them to actually be able to do the thing that they've been working for the last 7 to 10 years of their life. And so thank you so much for that. And that's from just a straight mission standpoint.
Right.
That's I'm being very matchy right now. But now on another level, this doesn't look, guys. I've had 4,000. It's like 4,300 clients. I think it's 4,300. The team said it's now 6,000. I'm pretty sure it's like 4,300 paid clients that have come through this thing that I've done. Right. And knowing that about 3 people are people that like you'll have in your life regardless. You are one of those 3. And so thank you for, it's very hard as men to have other men that like I'm going to a mastermind next week in Colorado, and it's like, yeah, we're cool. We're cool, whatever, and yeah, we'll hang out. Cool. Let's go to dinner. Yeah, let's go to have, coffee, this and that, whatever. But like, these aren't people that I'm going to break bread with. Like on the reg. Like, it's like if, I heard this in a book, get this book, by the way. It's The Wealth Money Can't Buy.
Well, the
Wealth Money Can't Buy by Robin Sharma.
Okay.
And basically said, it's like, he's like, you are a very rich man if you have 3 people that right now you said, listen, I'm over here in Italy. I'm kind of in a tough spot. I need help. And they would say, okay, I got you. And they would get on a plane and they'd come and figure out whatever thing you needed. Like if you got one person, you're very blessed. If you have like 2 to 3 of them, you're a very, very, very rich man. And I believe that if I was in the cartels in Mexico, and I said, yo, Papa Rice, been a little situation.
Fair enough.
I feel very confident that you'd be like, all right, let me figure this out.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Either you gonna come or you gonna delegate it to somebody. Go get him. Go get him and figure it out.
I mean, if it's the cartel, brother, I'm calling FBI, but we coming.
Yeah.
We calling somebody.
I'm in the favelas and all that stuff. All right, so anyways, I'm very, very grateful and I'm thankful that you are one of those peeps. Don't have to talk every day, this, that, da, but you just know. You just know and so I feel very grateful and thankful that throughout this entire journey that I've actually gotten something personally from it and you're one of those people. So thank you so
man.
much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I hope you all have gotten some value from this episode.
Walkie-talkie.
It's a little walkie-talkie, but that's what we do, and I hope you guys kind of enjoyed the journey and learned a lot from it. Whether it is trying to figure out what your purpose and what your fulfillment is, maybe some of the pitfalls of entrepreneurship, understanding that everything is not perfect and roses the entire time, but it's a pretty amazing journey, and along the way a lot of cool things will happen. So anyways, thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
It's a pleasure.
That was easy.